By day, trouble by night. Many wet roads are now slick or snow-covered, leaving drivers to curse winter once again. Good evening, everyone. I'm Siani Lee. Tim Lake has the night off. And our top story tonight, the snow watch continues tonight for the area. What started today as a fairly harmless snowfall has now turned into a Saturday night mess out there. News 10 cameras captured a blanket of snow at this car dealership in Langhorne. These windshield wipers were about the only ones not in action tonight. Earlier, snow by the seashore was quite a sight as well. Whoops. News 10 on the boardwalk in Ocean City. It was just as flaky down the Jersey shore as it was inland. And in most areas, the light snow only caused a wet and slushy day traffic-wise. News 10 today along Old York Road in Jenkintown, Montgomery County. Very little of the precipitation stuck to the roadways. But that might not be the case in about 48 hours from now. News 10 meteorologist Glenn Hurricane Schwartz is live in the Weather Center with the very latest, and looks like we've got a big storm headed our way, Glenn.
That's right, and that's coming Monday night into Tuesday, but let's get rid of the first storm first. Can you imagine how much trouble we'd be in if it was a little bit colder around here? Well, it's not colder, and therefore we're not in a tremendous amount of trouble. A lot of snow today, but a lot of it melting. The radar showing that it's on the way out as well. Radar over the last 12 hours or so showing the general band moving eastward, but slowly, and there's still some snow left, especially in New Jersey and Delaware, all the way down to the shore, but that too will be ending overnight. Temperatures are not dropping very much, so we're not going to be seeing widespread icing or driving problems, but there will be some patches of that. We'll talk a little bit about snow amounts and talk about this next storm that's coming, a more significant storm overall. That in a few minutes. Siani?
All right, thanks a lot, Glenn. Tonight, the light snow may have triggered a bizarre accident on Interstate 95 in Philadelphia. Traffic came to a halt when the sign support came down near the Cotman Avenue exit. News 10 was on the scene there. A PennDOT salt truck with its dump body in the upward position apparently knocked down the heavy support. No one was hurt, but it left a lot of frustrated drivers in the northbound lanes. And slick roads are being reported in some areas tonight, mostly in the suburbs, but for the most part, it wasn't too bad out there. Let's check in now with News 10's Mike Strug, who has been out on the highways tonight and checking things out, and he is in Glassboro, New Jersey. Mike?
Well, Siani, here it is. This is the first snowball of the season. We've been traveling around the area. We were up in Bucks County earlier this evening. Only slick roads, that is wet roads, wet sidewalks, wet lawns. The same was certainly true in the city. To find some snow we could really play with, we had to come here to usually tropical South Jersey.
I love it. I love it. It's our first snowfall. My kid turned 3 December 4th. And we hoped for snow for Christmas and they didn't say it was going to stick today, but look at it. God made it stick, and I got to love it. Hey, everybody hates it. Oh, it's miserable. It's terrible driving. I love it.
She loves it. The trees, the grass, the bushes are blanketed in snow. The geese have headed south, and the roads are slush covered. And the salt trucks are out. And while Priscilla may love it, not everyone is quite so happy.
I hate snow. I absolutely hate snow. So we decided to come out and get a hoagie.
And drown your sorrows.
Drown our sorrow in a hoagie.
You know, we're supposed to get 6 inches to maybe 2 feet come Monday.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's wonderful. Well, I'll be walking.
And eating a lot of hoagies.
Eating a lot of hoagies.
Definitely winter's here.
And they're talking 6 inches to maybe 2 feet on Monday?
That's what they're saying, but you know how weathermen can be.
Oh, Glenn, he said that. I didn't say that. I believe you. Live in Glassboro, I'm Mike Strug, News 10.
All right, thanks a lot, Mike. That is our snow watch coverage for now, but stay with News 10. Glenn Hurricane Schwartz will be back in just a few minutes with the complete Earth Watch forecast.
Here's what it looked like down in Wilmington. Traffic moving slowly and carefully along Concord Pike. It may look nice, but when you're out driving it, you want to remember to pack your patience and take it easy. And here's a peek at how the storm affected the shore. The first snow fell on Ocean City's boardwalk today. Always a strange sight, isn't it? Snow at the beach. But Mother Nature wanted it that way. The shore receiving the same wintry mix of rain and snow. And how do folks feel about this snowy, rainy, chilly weather?
I rather like it, but I'm a cold weather person, so.
I like it cold and snow. I'm not crazy about the wet, but it's nice.
And again, the big concern tonight is the icy conditions out on the roads. And all around the area today, people were out and about getting ready to cope with whatever Mother Nature might dish out. There were bags of rock salt piled up at stores like Seidman's Supply Hardware Store in Kensington. Lots of people determined not to make the same mistake they made before the blizzard of 1996.
We had the big snowstorm a couple years ago. We had all that snow and everything, and I ran out of rock salt, and I went and I bought salt, you know, in the containers, and I used all that, and somebody fell, and I said, look, pal, if you can find some rock salt, I'll buy it and I'll give you some.
Well, a lot of us who didn't need rock salt today may need plenty of it when the next storm zaps us Monday night and Tuesday. Much more serious situation bring off real soon now. Colder temperatures are expected tonight and some icing may occur, but a much larger snowstorm could be headed our way Monday evening. And of course, News 3 and KYW News Radio will be tracking that storm and following the icy situation this evening. For updates overnight, tune into KYW News Radio 1060, and we'll have a complete report from the Storm Center on News 3 Weekend tomorrow morning, beginning at 8.
How about this for a mountain breeze? High wind warnings are up in Denver and across Colorado as gusts topped 60 miles an hour. A small plane skidded off the runway at another airport when it was caught in a crosswind. No injuries reported in that accident. Some flights were canceled at Denver International, and a combination of wind and snow caused many serious traffic accidents. Well, we've got a big storm headed our way for Monday. Let's check in now with Glenn Hurricane Schwartz for the very latest on that. Is it safe to say that we should get the shovels out at this point?
Well, at least
what do you think?
Some people watching us are going to need some shovels before this is over. And this is all part of that storm that caused all those strong winds in Denver. But that storm is helping to push tonight's storm out to sea a little bit and keeping the snow totals down. At the moment, the temperature is not dropping significantly, and of course that's good news. We don't want everything to ice up around here overnight. 32 degrees Russell Night School in Cherry Hill, where the temperature has held steady for the past several hours. A light north wind, the humidity 100%, meaning that it's not going to drop that much farther, if at all, and about 1/4 inch of liquid amount, meaning about a couple inches of snow in that portion of the state. Today's high 40, right on the average, the low 34, keeping us above freezing for the entire event out at the airport. This is round one, and that is ending tonight. Temperature below freezing only in the Poconos, 28 degrees. We have a couple of patches where there will be some slushy roads, slippery roads in the morning, maybe a couple icy spots, but not widespread icing. Heaviest snow actually down in South Jersey. We've been talking about the greatest potential for accumulation south and east of the city, and less to the far north and west. We did have one reported near 3 inches in Chester County. Last 3 hours on the radar showing the general area starting to move out and shrink a little bit. It's already tapered off quite a bit across western sections, and in New Jersey it'll taper off a little while. We fly back through the snow and go out into the Atlantic Ocean, and there's that one storm system that is now moving out a little bit, trailing moisture down into Texas, or into Florida rather. And then as we look back to the west, we see the next storm coming down through the Rockies. Watch this on the satellite. It's just diving straight to the south, and you can see the swirl up there. There's plenty of energy with that storm, and there's just no doubt a major coastal storm, a nor'easter, is going to develop. The real question is, how warm is it going to be? How much of it is going to be rain or snow? Here's the storm by Monday morning. By Monday evening, it's intensifying along the coast. We have a large area of snow, but some latest computer indications suggesting that area of rain might be much closer to Philadelphia. So we're a real question here, but inland, there's not much question. You're going to get nailed with a big snowstorm and some very strong winds coming in off the ocean and around this storm. This is going to be a very serious problem at the shore because of potential beach erosion and high tides. We have an astronomical high tide coming because of the new moon. So the wind is going to be a problem, the snow inland. So for Monday night and Tuesday, the potential, we still have to watch this data for the warming here to see if we have more rain than snow around Philadelphia, but heavy snow inland, west of the city, potential gusts of 50 miles an hour or greater, and coastal flooding and perhaps some beach erosion before this is all out. But it's a fairly quick-moving storm. Here's the forecast then for tonight. Got to get rid of storm one first. The snow ending, just some slushy accumulation, and the winds increasing a little bit. Temperatures only dropping a couple degrees at most. During the day tomorrow, early clouds giving way to a sunny day, kind of chilly, and the winds gradually diminishing. High temperatures only in the upper 30s. Now, the 5-day forecast, we start off dry on Monday, maybe some sunshine, some rain or snow developing in the evening, high of 38, and then the rain or snow ending on Tuesday with some very strong winds that last all the way into Wednesday. It's way too early to talk about specific snow amounts, especially when you're dealing with a question of how much is rain and how much is snow. We'll update that
Could
tomorrow.
be a very wet snow once again then.
Yeah, we're dealing with these close calls again.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. It's too early to say how much we'll get.
Absolutely too early.
News 3 continues with the Franklin Institute forecast.
And then the party was over after 2 days of temperatures in the 50s. We definitely saw the snow coming. Storm 1 is over. Storm 2 is on our horizon. Right now, we're looking at just cloudy skies, still a little bit of light snow in the Center City area. Temperature, though, has dipped below freezing, and so we are looking for the possibility of some icing later on tonight. But traffic is moving along pretty nicely at the moment, and the colder temperatures will wait for at least the next couple of hours. So be careful if you're driving tomorrow morning. That's when the problems may be. We're watching as that storm continues to move off the coast, but another storm is on the heels of that first storm, and the second one is much bigger than the first, or at least has the potential to be much bigger. We'll watch as the radar shows where the snow has gone. We were sort of a mix of rain and snow during most of the day. Then as colder air moved in at the ground and in the upper levels, we saw it turn over to all snow. Once again, it's still snowing in central Jersey as well as southern Jersey towards the beach. Temperatures there, 32 degrees, 35 at Washington National, but slightly colder air behind this frontal system will move in for the latter part of the weekend. That's going to bring temperatures down into the 30s with some sunshine. And once again, the wind chill will be a factor tomorrow afternoon. Low temperatures tonight falling below freezing across much of our area, 31 degrees at Washington National, about 20 degrees in Cleveland. And that cold air will set the stage for the potential for a storm to move our way come Monday night into Tuesday. This is what we expect to happen. High pressure will build off the coast, storm system moving along the Gulf and then up the coast as cold air moves down from the north. This is a scenario we don't like to see if we don't like big storms, because the two combine into the potential to see snow, and it looks like that's what we may see Sunday night, or Monday night rather, into Tuesday. And right now it's too early to tell if the storm moves a little bit further inland. We are probably looking at some rain and wind, but basically now I think it's going to be snow, but of course it's too close to call. 33 degrees at the airport, still a little bit of light snow under cloudy skies. The forecast for tonight, though, snow will be ending shortly if it hasn't already, 26 to 30 degrees. Forecast for tomorrow, much different. Partly sunny skies, temperatures about 34 to 38 degrees, but a stiff wind out of the northwest. And then we set our eyes on Monday night into Tuesday as that second storm moves our way. And once again, it still needs to be watched. And as things develop and the computer models come in tomorrow, we'll certainly bring you updated on that forecast. All three of us will be in the Weather Center, and we'll bring you the latest. Brandon, back to you.
All righty. Thank you, Rick. The snowy weather was a fitting backdrop for today's spectacular reenactment of the battles of Trenton. The streets of Trenton echoed with musket fire for much of the day as General George Washington's ragtag army was eyeball to eyeball with the British redcoats and their Hessian mercenary allies. Real battles of Trenton on December 26, 1776 and January 2nd, 1777 turned the tide of the Revolutionary War.
The Continental Army had been pushed around by the British in the summer of 1776 and driven right out of New York's City, across New Jersey, and into Pennsylvania. The war was virtually over, and Washington desperately needed a victory, and he found it here at Trenton.
Good thing, or we might all be saying "here, here" instead of "yo" around here. By the way, ever hear the expression, keep your powder dry? Well, the Revolutionary War reenactors today got a good look at, whoops, why that's a good idea. Don't you hate when that happens? Up next, Gary Cobb with Big
Local forecast. News Weather Scope.
Tornadoes and flooding throughout to Central Florida today, and the forecast doesn't look too good, actually, for the eastern half of the country for some wintry weather on the way. Welcome to Weather Scope. I'm Paul Emick.
And I'm Kim Perez. I'll be taking a look at the west. That's where we find very wary.
Very wary what?
Remember, we talked about being poets earlier.
That's right.
Very windy weather in the plains. It's blowing around the newly fallen snow.
In North Carolina, you had plenty of snow to go around on this second day after Christmas. This guy, probably the only one who felt really at home in this weather. I know how he feels. The children here are taken to the hills, coming in a close second. As you can see, snow is blanketing Highlands, Virginia. Now, that area, along with a good deal of the northeast. Here comes another one, just like the other one, only bigger and badder, with more snow the next couple of days on the way. Here's Knoxville, Tennessee. There just a few days ago. It's transformed into a picture-perfect wonderland. Maybe you woke up to a light covering of snow, just enough to slow down traffic and get the sled out, maybe, if you were near someplace you could do that. More of the white stuff on the way for the southeast. We'll discuss that in the forecast on the way. But it did make for some slow going around Knoxville, or maybe around Maryville for the day, around the Tyson McGee Airport there. Here's the happenings. Look at this. Southeast, fairly quiet tonight, including Knoxville, Tennessee. Things are not as hopping as they were last night with the snowfall. What happened? Well, there was a big area low pressure. It was hanging out in the Gulf last night. It's got places to go, and it made a quick trek across Florida, and it's gone now. It's further up the coast. We'll get to it momentarily. But the action looks pretty non-existent across the southeast. Last night, though, low pressure was hanging out here. It kicked across Florida. Now, in the process, it drug a front along, and that kind of brought an end to the rain in Florida. Now, fronts are the leading edge of cooler, drier air. So make sense of this. The cooler air ahead of it is what we call the warm sector, the warmer air. Stormier stuff, too, especially when the low pressure came over. It added to a lot of the rain in Florida. But now an end coming to it across the state. Except for South Florida, still at times around Miami, a little bit of rainfall. Front will move on and things will get drier. Miami, South Beach, Plantation, Florida, drying out tonight. You need to do some drying here. Normal's not even 2 inches for Tampa. Almost like 15.5 inches. That's amazing. Orlando close to 13 and close to 9 3/4 around Jacksonville. Record heat, though. Remember I said the warm sector ahead of the front, the cool air behind. Miami, second day of a record. 84 the record high, although you tied a record yesterday. Look at this, 54 now to, or 64 rather, to Miami. Things are cooling off a bit, some rain cooled air. 53 to Tampa, and a cool 45 to Jacksonville. Big snowstorm kicking up the coast, including some 6 to 12 inch amounts, and around parts of West Virginia. As this has kicked up the coast, we're now seeing some snowfall in the northeast. Area of low pressure doing it again. Here's the warm sector with some of the rain. Low pressure moves like this, draws things in, pulls in moisture and cold air. The warm moist air is being pumped in on this side. That's the warm sector. Cold air back here. Winds blow from high to low. Here comes that cold Canadian air wrapping in. The coldest of air is here. That's why we've seen the snow tonight around Philadelphia, around Boston, Hartford, and Providence. We've been dealing with snow and lots of it kicking through. This is nothing, though, compared to the snow that awaits in just a few short days. It's going to be quite snowy. Now we'll shift our focus and have a quick look at the action across the west. With the western action, here's Kim Perez.
Okay, well, thanks, Paul. Let's take a look here at our current map, and we're seeing very tight pressure gradient here. Notice the isobars are these like brown lines. They're kind of close together. We've been seeing wind gusts 50, 60, 70 miles per hour today, and some snow falling. So we're looking at drifting snow, blowing snow, reducing the visibility. So be careful out there tonight if you do have to do some traveling. Now, this storm will be the one that will produce the snow maybe in northern Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and we'll talk about that here in our forecast. But we'll keep an eye on this one for you. Right now, it's a big wind maker, and some areas could still receive some winds gusting over 50 miles per hour here. Now, it's a little chilly, some cold air coming in behind this. Temperatures 27 in Denver, but we're going to factor in those winds, and it feels like it's 4 below. Lander at 4, so bundle up tonight, bundle up tomorrow morning when you're heading off to church, because it's going to be pretty chilly out there tomorrow morning. Here's our low. It's got a lot of moisture here at the mid and upper levels, but surface, it really doesn't have too much to work with, so we're just seeing some light snow here in the forecast. Rapid City, the Black Hills of South Dakota, probably picking up 3 to 6 inches, while some areas, let's say Pierre, South Dakota, you could see 1 inch or 2 with that. Now, with winds gusting over 50 miles per hour, snow already on the ground, we are looking at some blizzard conditions in some of the areas here, localized. So that just means the visibilities are going to be reduced way down there. We even have some snow occurring in the Cascades, but some light rain around Seattle and Everett, Whidbey Island, Quileute, and even Vancouver. That's it for the west. We'll talk about that storm that'll be hitting the southeast in our forecast, but first let's talk about El Nino.
If you've ever heard El Nino called ENSO or El Nino Southern Oscillation, you may have wondered why. Well, it's because El Nino is part of a larger climate mechanism, one that is less well known but very powerful nonetheless. Marshall Cease has this report in tonight's El Nino Focus.
Southern Oscillation describes what might be called the power behind El Nino. It's a seesaw pattern of surface air pressure at opposite ends of the Pacific Ocean. Normally, there's a region of high pressure over Polynesia, which is measured at Tahiti, and low pressure over the western Pacific, near Australia, which is measured at Darwin. Because winds blow from high to low pressure, the prevailing winds over the equatorial Pacific blow from east to west. In an El Nino year, the pressures reverse, and the trade winds diminish or even reverse. That's the Southern Oscillation. And it's those pressure changes of the Southern Oscillation that drive the El Nino. I'm Marshall Cease, the Weather Channel.
For more on El Nino and its effects on the weather, tune into the Weather Channel each and every night for El Nino Focus. It's a part of WeatherScope. Now let's go for a look at a so snowy forecast. Well, that is Kim Perez.
Thanks, Paul. Well, some people may not be too happy about this, but if you haven't seen the snow in a long time, like I haven't, you'll be happy to know that we're going to get some snow here in the southeast, and you're also going to get some snow here in the mid-Atlantic states in the next couple of days. But for Sunday, looking a lot better after our first storm exits. A little bit of light snow maybe around the Cape, Nantucket, that's about it. And as this front moves to the southeast, it's going to gain some energy with it. So for right now, we're just expecting some light snow in Oklahoma City, Kansas City, St. Louis by the PM time frame. It'll be light in nature, even into Chicago. Then we're going to have another blast of cold air coming from Canada here. International Falls, you're probably going to see some cooler readings too for Monday, since our front will be coming through Sunday night. Some snows in the northern Rockies, even the Colorado Rockies looking at some snowfall. And rain, maybe a few thunderstorms coming into New Orleans as our low tracks off to the east. Now our low is going to track probably south of Atlanta, between Tallahassee and Atlanta, and that's going to set the scene for the possibility of snow in Atlanta and northward. Tonight, though, not much in the way of rain, but we are looking at snow coming down in the front range in the upper Midwest. So cool temperatures tonight, high Sunday, rebounding somewhat, but look at Monday, how we really cool it down the southeast, and there's our big storm Monday. So looking at maybe Monday afternoon for Atlanta now, snow.
It's going to be a huge, huge story. Hey, don't head out tonight or tomorrow without staying tuned for a look at some travel trouble spots.
That's just ahead on TravelWise right after your local forecast.